Guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little while, hasn't it? It's been a few weeks, I think. I have no excuse other than I've been a little slumpy, both in terms of reading and filming. Um, yeah, I've just been kind of eh. But I'm getting slowly back into it. So I figure let's kick the month off with the March wrap-up. What did I read last month? I completed I think I completed 4 books. I say I think, I can't remember if the first one I finished was at the end of February or the start of March. And I could watch my February wrap up to remind myself, but where's the fun in that? So yeah, the first one I finished was A Court of Silver Flames. Pop it up here. I think I gave it 4 stars. I think. I really enjoyed it actually. Oh gosh, that feels like a while ago. It feels like a while ago that I read that. Yeah, I think by the time I finished that, I'd read so much Sarah J. Maas, like I read all 5 of them in a relatively short period of time, that I think kind of like, not quite, I didn't quite put myself into a slump, but I kind of Sarah J. Maased myself out. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed the different POVs we were getting. Just Nesta and Cassian are possibly one of my favourite dynamics in that world. So if you enjoy those two and you've not read A Court of Silver Flames, you're gonna enjoy it. If you are reading Nectar series, absolutely loving Vera's point of view, you're gonna be a wee bit disappointed. I felt like her character arc is pretty much finished, and so we're sort of like moving on, which I'm kind of okay with. But yeah, and then after that, I read Vox by Christina Dalcher. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a near future dystopia, which it's sort of reminiscent of Handmaid's Tale in the oppression of women. But yeah, within this book, basically, women have all been fitted with like what's the thing that goes on your wrist? A bracelet. Oh, we're in a good place right now, guys. But yeah, women have all been fitted with a bracelet that tracks how many words they speak out loud, and have been limited to just 100 words a day, which is not that many words, is it? And for every word that they speak over that 100, they get electrocuted, like a shock. It starts off as like a small shock, but progressively gets more and more intense, to the point that it's very painful. And this is basically the story of a woman who was a scientist, well, still is a scientist, working on. She's working on some form of she's a neurobiologist, I think, working on sort of like speech issues. And it's basically a story, like her story and the fight for women's freedom again. I gave this one 3 stars. I really enjoyed the premise. I really enjoyed the concept. I just felt like there were so many scenes where it told us that it was tense. It told us how terrible it was, but I never felt it. I just felt like this. It's very difficult to put into words, but the feeling of this book just fell flat a little bit. Like there were times where we have like the main conflict happening, and it just felt, I don't want to say it felt too easy, because the whole concept of this book is that nothing is easy for a woman at all. But at times, it felt too convenient. There were bits where it's like, oh, she's finally starting to like rebel. She can do this because of X, Y, and Z. And I felt like her ducks lined up just a little bit too neatly. But yeah, it'd be interesting to read anything else that the author's written. I think she's got at least 1 more book. So I'd say it's a solid book. It's just not an amazing book. Yeah, possibly because I think one of the taglines is that it's very reminiscent of Handmaid's Tale, and I loved Handmaid's Tale. So I think I possibly went in with my expectations just a bit too high. So yeah, after that, I decided, okay, let's take a complete 180. And I read Beth O'Leary's The Road Trip. I love Beth O'Leary. If So this is a contemporary rom-com. And if you enjoy contemporary rom-coms, if you've read Beth O'Leary, you know what you're getting. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. These are lovable characters. Just a really cute little story. It's basically about a group of friends, two of which happen to be exes, just through a set of circumstances, end up in the same car, journeying from England up to Scotland for another friend's wedding. And we follow this sort of like, will they, won't they get back together? Like, what happened? How did they meet in the first place? And it does go back and forth. It flips back and forth between the past when our main couple first meet and get together, and the future where they're broken up, and you figure out like what happened, why, and all that. And it was just Beth O'Leary is pretty much an auto-author for me, so it's always going to be brilliant. I think I gave it 4 stars. Like, it didn't blow me away, but I still had such a good time reading it. It was lovely. If you do want like a slower paced, really just cute, charming romance with some just really great characters, then that is the book for you. The next one I started and then finished. I started before my last read and finished after my last read. But that was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Again, this was another book where I wanted so much more from it. This was a booktube darling at one point, I think. I kept seeing this everywhere for a while, so I put my hold in for the library, and then that just took forever and ever and never turned up. And then eventually one of my friends decided she actually wanted the paperback, so she gave me her hardback. It's beautifully written, but I found it kind of predictable, and I hated most of the characters. So this is probably the closest to horror I will get. It's classed as Gothic horror, I think. But I just didn't find it that scary. I found it so it's basically about a girl who she goes to visit her cousin, who is a newlywed, in his family home. And her cousin had written her a letter that was sort of like very garbled and has sort of like the rest of the family quite concerns as to her health and her well-being. So they send Noemi, who is like in her early 20s and is quite flighty at times, to go and check things out. I think my main issue with the fact is that they sent Noemi on her own, despite the fact that no one actually trusted her to do a good job. Like, why would you do that? And yeah, from there's this mystery with a house. It's all very dark and gloomy, and as you further progress throughout the mystery, for me, as soon as I read certain things, I was like, right, okay, that. Okay, I kind of figured out very early on what the mystery, like what was behind the mystery. I didn't get the exact execution because it took that bit of a magical turn. Very, very mild magic, like blink and you miss it kind of. But it took that bit of a turn that I never quite got the exact execution. But yeah, by the end I was like, I saw this all coming a mile away. So yeah, this was another one. I merely gave it 3 stars. It was an alright read. It was interesting in that I'd be reading it, I'd put it down because I was bored. And 5 minutes later I'd pick it back up because but actually, and I feel like it's a very slow burn, and I very much I was like, well, I'll just give another chapter, it'll start picking up soon. Like, I kept waiting for it to pick up, and then it just kind of didn't until sort of like the last 100 pages or so. So yeah, if you're not into a slow burn, this is not going to be the book for you. I know a lot of people really enjoy the character work in here, but there's one character that I liked, which is, not great. It's all from Nomi's point of view, which again also didn't help because I wouldn't say I disliked her, I just didn't like her either. It made for a difficult read at times. Yeah. And then the last one I read, now this was a great book. I read this in one day. Because apparently I'm really not enjoying anything even remotely dark right now. Maybe that's just my mood. I am really enjoying Light and Cute and Fluffy. So after watching a couple of reviews, I was like, oh my god, I've got to read this book. I ignored my book buying ban. I purposely defied it, and I popped onto the big bad Amazon, and I bought Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry. And holy crap, like, this is a 5-star read, guys. This is amazing. This is everything I needed. So first off, gotta appreciate a beautiful wraparound cover. I don't know if you can really fully appreciate that on the screen. I love a wraparound cover. But this is, the tagline itself says, it is a novel of high fantasy and low stakes. Basically, an orc, our main character, gets bored of adventuring. She's sick of doing the dungeons. She just wants to be able to settle down. So she picks a city and opens a wee bookstore. Not a bookstore? Oh my gosh, that's my dream. She opens a coffee shop. And this is basically, yeah, the premise of this book is orc settles down, opens coffee shop, makes friends. That is it in a nutshell. I absolutely fell in love with the characters. I got a little hungry. There is some epic food. There's some really, really good food descriptions in this. Has inspired a video that will be coming to you hopefully within the next week, because I'm going to get better at this making video things. And yeah, it was such a comforting read. Like, it doesn't expect anything from you. It doesn't ask for anything. This is the book when you're feeling a bit tired, you just want a lazy Sunday afternoon. You don't want anything that's really, like, anything that involves rubbing 2 brain cells together. No. This is the book. Like, it's not, like, it is a bit predictable at times. The plot is simple, but it doesn't claim or pretend or try to be anything other than it is, and I love it for that. The characters are brilliant. I absolutely need a thimble in my life. Thimble is a little ratkin, I think, who basically bakes. He makes epic cinnamon buns, and I need him in my life. But yeah, so yeah, that was my March. It was kind of a mixed bag. I'm hoping April will be a bit better. I've read 1 book so far. I'm filming this on the 6th. Hopefully I'm gonna put it up tonight as well. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say with guys. It will be no shock that Legends and Lies is going to be my book of the month. How could it not be? I want to read it again. And yeah, that's all I got for you today, guys. I'm sorry, it's a very short one for me for once. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what have you been reading? What was your highlight this month? And hopefully, with any luck, I will get over this slumping in both reading and video making, and I will see you again shortly. Bye!